Okay, so we have here Shelby, Therese, Anna, and Josh, and they're members of our science team, and we're going to get to know them a little bit. So, all right, we're going to start with you, Shelby. How long have you worked at ALS TDI, and what is your team, and what's your role?
So I'm Shelby, and I've been at TDI for 2 years now, and I'm on the in vivo team as an intern.
I'm Therese. I'm an Associate Scientist 3, and I work in the cell biology group under Kyle Denton.
I'm Anna Gill. I've been working at ALS TDI for 8 years now, and I'm on the discovery biology team as the manager of our PRMT inhibitor discovery program.
Hi, I'm Josh, and I'm a researcher for the in vivo team.
Thank you, and we'll start with Josh coming back this way. So, did you have a connection to ALS prior to joining ALS TDI, and do you have ALS connections now?
I didn't have any connections when I started ALS TDI, although I grew up in an HD family, so I'm no stranger to neurodegenerative diseases, which means for me, my grandfather had it, his father and sister also had it, and now my aunt and uncle have it. And now, yeah, just being immersed in this community. I've been here for almost 20 years, and just seeing all the families and everything, yeah, I feel like I'm very connected to it now.
Thank you, Josh. And Anna?
I don't have a direct ALS connection, but I do have a pretty direct ALS TDI connection. A lot of my family works here. It's weird, but I think ultimately it's a good kind of weird. I think my parents are actually here. Al and Cindy Gale over there, that's what they look like, if you want to ask them any embarrassing stories about me later. So my colleagues often joke that I was born at the lab at ALS TDI, and I'm flattered they think I am that young. But I also don't remember much about being born, so I can't confirm or deny that information. So, of course, I've been around ALS TDI for many years. Started volunteering when I was quite young, around like 2007. So I've seen it move to 2 different lab buildings and know a lot of the history of the company and have learned so many of your stories over that time. And they've really inspired me to keep the work up.
I also did not have a direct connection to ALS, but I did early on in my career join ALS TDI. I've been here for 5 years, and just my start was in the PMP program, and the early times that just started, and a majority of my introduction to it was processing blood and skin samples from patients, and I think really proud of the cell repository that we built, because that really solidified my feeling of having, working with patient samples, and I get a biopsy, and the physicality of it just reminds me that this isn't just cells that I'm working with every day. It's actually the legacy of all the patients and the time and effort that you came to give those samples to us. So ALS TDI means a lot to me in that sense, even though I didn't come from ALS background.
I do have a direct ALS connection, which is how I found ALS TDI. So the summer after my freshman year of college, I was looking for research opportunities, and I decided that I wanted to look into ALS research because my uncle had just been diagnosed a few months earlier, and so that is my connection, and he has passed away since then. It's been about a year, but he was always like super excited to hear about all the things that were going on here and what I was doing when I went home for the holidays. So yeah.
Thank you, everybody. And maybe starting with you again, Shelby, what's been your main focus in your research, and what do you think is most interesting about your role?
So the majority of time that I've been here, my kind of main thing is in the in vivo team, working with the fish, doing husbandry and larval care, and also with the with the in vivo team. I also do help out with the genotyping process with the mice. And as far as my role, I would say the most interesting thing, and one of my favorite parts about being an intern, is that I kind of just get to jump around and be wherever help is needed, which is how I've gotten most of my tasks and jobs that I do throughout the lab. And that's also really nice because I get to kind of like learn a bunch of different things and get a really like broad view of how like the lab works in its teams and how that all comes together to produce products and compounds and things like that. So
a lot of what I work on is related to C9orf72 mutation, but I also do work a lot with gene editing and creating other models for us to use in the lab. So editing other types of cells so that we can discover phenotypes for other ALS mutations, and a lot of screen-based assays. I work on those in the cell biology team as well. I think the most exciting part is I like puzzles, so everything is kind of like a puzzle, and I like the troubleshooting aspect of everything technically. So figuring out how to determine what's going wrong and then proceed from there. I like that aspect of a lot of my work.
So I also have focused on C9orf72 ALS predominantly during my time here. I think the most unique aspect of it for me was at the time that I started back in 2015, the gene had just been discovered in 2011. The expansion mutation in the gene had just been discovered in relation to ALS in 2011, and the two kind of formative papers that informed my research project had come out the year before I started. So the field at large knew nothing about C9orf72 ALS when I started my career in it, and that has given me a very unique perspective on that specific ALS subtype as it's evolved over time.
My primary focus at ALS TDI has been working with the SOD1 mouse model, testing drugs and them possible treatments and collecting data for that. That's primarily what I do. What's most interesting about that is, you know, the possibility that something I'm testing on the mice might actually help and really go on to help people afterwards. I mean, just the possibility of that is, I mean, it's, you know, it's mind-blowing.
Thank you so much. And Josh, let's go ahead and start with you. What are some of the challenges that you've encountered in your role, and how have you addressed them?
I don't know. My job's pretty easy, I think. No, I think like some of the challenges are like logistical issues, or like we have. I don't even know what that's the right word for, but we have like an experiment that we do pretty regularly called a PK study, where we give a group of mice drugs, and then we harvest tissues from them at different time points afterwards. So they're very strict time points, especially when you have like a 5-minute like after you dose the mouse. You really want to try to stick to that. So that's challenging. I mean, but the way we overcome it every time, because just through teamwork. Like, we have a good team. We all are like, most of the in vivo team has been there like the longest, you know. So we're pretty good at what we do, I'd say. And without them, you know, it would be a lot harder.
I think there are a lot of challenges in my position. One of the most, I guess, disheartening ones would be screening a bunch of compounds, finding one that you think works, and then running into roadblocks, optimizing that compound down the line. So kind of believing in a lead and then having it fail. But I will say that all of our best and most promising discoveries with the most forward momentum have come from a lot of those failures. And so a lot of the roadblocks and the challenges end up making us much smarter and more careful about choosing the best possible leads to move forward.
Yeah, a lot of the challenges, I think, from my end are thinking about science in a screening capacity. you're not just thinking about one well of a 6-well or something. You're thinking about plating cells in 384 wells, 30 to 40 plates a screen, and how do you deconvolute all that data? How do you even plan an experiment like that? So a lot of that effort goes into planning and bouncing ideas off of other people in the group. And once you run a screen, having the wherewithal to process that data, you rely on other people, to write scripts and these sorts of things to even be able to figure out what the data means. And then it takes like a whole team just to do screens. So a lot of it is just thinking about it in a large scale for our team. And we tend to do it together, which helps a lot.
I would say my biggest challenge as an intern is just not knowing some things. Whether that's like actually like, biology based or just kind of like a more logistical thing, like how to use a machine in the lab. I would say that those are kind of the two biggest ones. But luckily I have a very nice team of scientists that will answer my questions and help me guide myself to finding out things that I don't know or things that I'm unclear on. The other day, I was in the lab and I use this one machine quite regularly, but we got a new version and I was kind of panicking because everyone looked kind of busy, but Anna took some time out of her day to come guide me through it because technology is hard. And so yeah, I would say those are probably my biggest challenges.
Thank you so much for sharing that. Shelby, how do you work with the other research? Well, you've just talked a little bit about how you work across so many different teams, but how do you work with all of the different research teams? What are some of the different things that you've done?
So I would say mainly the other thing that is like cross-team is I help process some of the RNA samples that, I think most of them at this point, that come in through the ARC that we get from patients who have enrolled. And I would say that's like, I actually split my time pretty 50-50 between in vivo things and those tasks. And they can be pretty time consuming with the RNA. And I also help prep the kits that go out that the patients will receive with the blood tubes and the phlebotomy kits. And so I work pretty closely with the ARC team as well.
Thanks. I also work closely with a bunch of groups here. I know Anna sitting next to me, we're in the lab together doing assays frequently. I'll touch base with Alan if I need something that's related to ARC. And so the good thing about TDI is that it's relatively easy to do these sorts of things. It's not, it's not like your boss is unavailable, or the people from a different team are right there for you, working with you in the lab all the time. And we join meetings with each other. We'll have cross-functional meetings together. So it's something that is relatively available at TDI and easy to do, and we do it all the time. And we're a pretty close-knit group, so it's often fun to do these sorts of things.
Yeah, this question is really exciting for me. We started the PRMT inhibitor drug discovery program as kind of this nebulous island where Alan previously and I made a lot of the formative discoveries surrounding that. And since then, and especially this past year, this program has kind of infected all of the different branches of ALS TDI. And so now I have all of these wonderful, intelligent people to kind of expand how many different types of new studies and technology that I can use to learn and move forward this drug discovery program.
I personally don't do like a lot of direct collaboration with other teams, but all the data that I produce doing the mouse studies is used by them to make informed decisions about things. Not to mention that a lot of the drugs that are tested in the mouse are also tested in the cell bio group. So it's kind of like a more general collaboration in that sense.
And what makes you excited to come to work, Josh?
At the people, that's easy. Yeah, I love my coworkers. It's like when I started, the place made a huge impression on me because it was like just this very family-based, adventure, or whatever, and it never stopped being that. And now I feel like they're like an extension of my family to a degree. And it's just there's no shortage of people willing to help with like anything at work. So it's just an incredibly supportive environment. And yeah, aside from hopefully making a difference in the world, leaving the campsite better than we found it. Yeah, it's the people. Yeah.
I think all of us are going to say it's the people, but I'll try to say that differently. So the people at ALS TDI, I guess, reflect the people we're trying to serve, is what I like to think about. They're very diligent and intelligent and compassionate and brave, really, because entering a lab where you're studying something as complex and formidable as ALS is a brave thing to do with your career. So I'd like to think of them as reflecting all of you guys, and the people are definitely the best part.
Should I just say the people? No, to reiterate, everyone who works here is amazing. I respect and appreciate all of their insight and help. And I think you don't really understand it until you go on like a lab tour or you come here and then you realize it's different here. And I do think, like Anna said, it reflects back on all of you and the close-knit community and just the closeness that patients and the openness that TDI has is something that's really unique, and it's the reason why I think you have people working here for years and years. It's definitely a testament to the people and the patients that we serve. We're in it for the long run, and that's pretty much it.
I'll try and say something different. I would say, yes, the people. It's very entertaining just like sitting at my cubicle and like listening to all of them speak. Really, they should have a podcast where they just debate random topics. It would be very interesting, I can assure you that. I think another thing that motivates me and makes me excited to come to work is just that I also get a lot of, this essentially just really supplements my education as well. I don't get to do a lot of hands-on lab work or anything like that at school as much, and so this has really paired nicely with what I'm learning in class, and I'm able to make connections, and that's always really fun and interesting. When I hear something that they're working on, it's like, oh, I learned about that, or vice versa. So yeah, that's always really fun when I can make connections and feel like a scientist. So yeah.
Shelby, I just want to hear one thing that they talk about. Can you just give us a little insight?
I encourage you guys to go up to Alan and ask him, or debate with him, if cereal is a soup, or if certain things could be considered sandwiches or pastries, any kind of just arbitrary, random topic. It's very entertaining. Yeah.
Now I'm going to be thinking about that. All right. Last question here. What is something that you want people to know about our research and our organization?
I would say that, as they've all done a great job of saying, that I feel like coming in has been really inspiring, and just because these are some of the most dedicated people that I've ever seen. There are so many things that go wrong, and even if that's just your experiment doesn't turn out the way you want it to, or there's some unforeseen challenge with the supply chain holding back tasks that you might need to do. Shipping is always a big one. But like, despite all those like tiny little things or like big setbacks, they come to work every day and are very excited and do great things. And that's very inspiring. And I think that everyone should know that.
I think the thing that I really want everyone to know is that we do have lofty goals. We set them because if we overshoot, we end up somewhere where we want to be still. And, we spend the extra hours after hours just working because we're, daily we are on like a time crunch, right? But we're not in a race against our lives. So it's important to us to have the goals that we do and to shoot further than we need to, because we know that in the end, we just want to help the patients. So, when we first started screens, we had, I think, 2 or 3 cell lines on a screen, and now we're pushing it to 10 to 20 lines per screen. We're doing 8 Westerns at a time. We're pushing the boundaries of what we can capably do in a day in order to really try to accelerate the process to get to the cures that we need. And even if typically in ALS, there's all these, roadblocks and dead ends, but every dead end is a answer, right? It's a no, maybe, it's a no, but every no gets us closer to the yes and the end result. So we're always trying to set those lofty goals so that we can figure this out faster.
I think what I would want all of you guys to know is that what you see up here today is a fraction of the sum total of what we're doing at ALS TDI. So come talk to us, come ask us more things about our work throughout the day today, because by no means do the presentations today reflect every single thing that we've been working on. And there's a lot of kind of hidden, exciting things that we've been putting a lot of our energy into. So yeah.
I think I just want to drive home the fact that everybody is so driven to achieve our mission of treating this disease, and it's not just a job. Like, I don't think for anybody it's a paycheck. It's like a life mission to just the dedication and the heart that's at the company. I feel like you come there, you'll feel it. Like, you can feel it.
Thank you, everybody. You guys are amazing. I'm so grateful to you for everything that you do every day, and I'm grateful that I get a chance to talk to you while I'm here in Boston, too. So come find them, ask questions, and I know that I didn't get to answer questions. If you have any questions for me, let me know. At this point, we're going to break for lunch, and we will see you all back at 1:30. Thank you so much for being here.